TikTok channels. So I'm live on a few different channels. And how are you doing? Hi. Happy new moon. New moon in true Taurus. And what a wonderful, wonderful day that is. It has been trying, but failing to rain today. I keep telling it it's not allowed because it's Sunday. How dare the rain come on Sunday, right? Sunday should be sunny. In Alberta, we've had a lot of cloud lately. It's nice. It wasn't quite that warm here today. Not 32. It's 22, mostly cloudy. But I've had a lot of sun today, so I'm quite happy about it. So I had this really wonderful experience on the weekend, a bit of a spiritual awakening, another layer, another level, and it was incredibly profound. Nice. Very nice. What are you making? Yeah, it's quite something else. What I saw and experienced and realized about the truth of things, and it's just incredible. Oh, I channeled a message this morning. I haven't shared it. And so since I haven't shared it, I will share it on here. Nice. Okay. Oh, I actually better move my keyboard. I might start like just pushing buttons, and we don't want to close something. All right. So I tell everybody that you can do this too. If you want to receive messages from your higher self, or you want to receive messages, from the higher power, whatever it is. Okay, you can do this too. It's a form of channeling called automatic writing. And all you do is just get yourself into state, which is just, being quiet and still. So slow your breath, deepen your breath, close your eyes for a little bit. Just really focus on being present, connect to your body, to the present moment. And then you just ask for the message, and you put your pen to paper and you start writing. And you just, after you're done writing, you go back and read it then and see what it says. So, okay. This was the message that I got this morning. Okay. Right now, there are many of us who are really dealing with a lot, personal, health, or financial struggles. You look around at society and the current state of things, and it's easy to lose hope. It may feel daunting, and many fall into the "I'm only one person" trap and choose to do nothing. But you are more important than you realize, and you may think you are alone, but you are not. There are so many unseen forces guiding you. There is Mother Gaia herself. She is supporting everyone who wishes to help her. She would love to enter into sacred relationship with you. There are the elements, all 5, who would love to enter sacred relationship with you. There are angels and guides all around us who would love to enter sacred relationship with you. And when we create these sacred relationships, we become an unstoppable, unified force. No one can stop us. We've already won. And that's the message. That's what came out today. And I know it to be true. I have started fostering a sacred relationship with Mother Gaia, with nature, with the elements. And I am at the point now where I can see the energy emanating from plants. And it is the most beautiful thing. The absolute most beautiful thing. I wish everybody could see it and see the energy, the life force that is there on plants and on, well, all life, all things that carry life force energy. That's beautiful. And when I mean entering into sacred relationship, if we enter into sacred relationship with the earth, we start to talk to her, we start to treat her better, we start to, look at it differently. We start to look at it as a relationship, and we should, because it is a relationship. The earth provides for us everything that we need, absolutely everything. It's just somebody at one point in time decided that we should have to pay for all of that. We should have to pay for the luxury of being born here, and that our energy was something that could be siphoned. And what we need to do is restore that sacred relationship with all life, right? And put our attention and awareness on the things that matter, the things that are important. And the things that are important is that eternal life force energy that runs through all of us. And Mother Gaia is important. The animals are important. All life is important. Every generation has seen the world decline, has seen nature decline. We've seen less bugs over the years, and people might be like, oh, but bugs are just whatever. But it's part of the ecosystem. If we have less bugs, we have less food for the birds and for all the rest of the life. It's a whole chain of events, right? When they talk about releasing mosquitoes so that they can reduce the population by entering, I don't know, whatever they've done with modifying that mosquito, what do we think is going to happen when we mess with the whole chain, when we mess with the ecosystem, right? We shouldn't be doing those things, right? Just like all this stuff that's going on up here that we can so readily pretend isn't happening until you see it. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. And right, what do we think that's doing to the entire ecosystem? Right? What are the pesticides that are being applied to everything over and over and over again? What is that doing to the ecosystem? What is the release of, things into the ecosystem? What is it doing? And we've seen this, like I said, we've seen the decrease in nature as time has gone on. So we have to look at what our role is, right? Each one of us has to do our part, right? It doesn't matter what anyone else is doing out there. The only thing that you have any control over is what you're doing. So if you decide, hey, I'm going to enter into this sacred relationship with all life around me. Now, trust me, when you're in sacred relationship, that doesn't mean that you're friends with everybody. That doesn't mean that you have this big open door. You have boundaries because you have self-respect, and, your boundaries are good for you. But when you enter into that sacred relationship with all life, you start to care for life. You start to look at the things around you and go, is that the way that it should be? And if it's not, what can I do to help it? Right? What can I do? Maybe I can plant more native plants in my area. Maybe I can look at what invasive species there are in my area and remove them. Hello, Cindy. How are you, love? So good to see you. I saw your double rainbow. That's lovely. I've been just telling the rain it has to go away today because it's Sunday and we've, had enough cloud in Alberta this past month. We are at the halfway point just about. We are at the new moon in true Taurus today. So it's all about self-worth and value. And we're talking about sacred relationship. I'll send it to you. That would just make me so happy if it just went all the way down to you and just rained. We've gotten a decent amount, overcast and all that stuff. How are you doing? How are you settling in? And how is everybody else doing? You can ask any questions about spirituality, awakening, healing, and I'll do my best to answer whatever questions you have. Yeah. That's okay. It's nice to have things moving slowly sometimes, especially this day and age when it seems like time's just flying by, right? I just keep trying to remind myself I always have more than enough time. I always have more than enough time, because at least if I can sit in that energy, it's safer, right? promoting what I want to see as opposed to what I don't want to see, and I would like to see more time. Hello, Kia. Hello, Kia. All right, I'm going to pull a couple of cards. I read my channeled message. Ooh, right? So yesterday, I talked about this on Saturday, but this was a really good message that I wanted to read, because it's just such a good message. Okay, so yesterday I finished a composition book. I finished one of these books, 200 pages of writing channeled messages. Most of the messages are 2 pages in length. So, that's 100 messages. That's an accomplishment. I finished something. I finished a book. I finished a book. So I started a new one yesterday. And so this was the message that I ended up channeling when I sat with him. Today was a new start, just like every day is. As this message gets written in a brand new page, another new start. There is no such thing as endings, just new beginnings. And every day you get the opportunity to start again, start new, and create something different. Instead of reaching for your phone to distract you, maybe this day you choose to remain present with yourself and your breath. You don't need a new day to make changes. You just need a moment and the intention to change. Maybe today, in one moment, you choose to express your truth, finally. Maybe in one moment, you decide to immerse yourself in nature, walking in total presence with all of the life around you. Maybe in one moment you decide enough is enough and you leave something that was not aligned or toxic. The point is, your life is made up of moments that become days. You don't need a whole day to make a change. You just need one moment. Choose to see and know the truth and make that moment stretch into the next. Choose to know your worth and value and to never think you are too much or not enough, and let that moment become millions more. Change in one moment and keep it in future moments. Take a breath and a next. Take a step and another. Take a bite and one more. Moment to moment, second to second, our lives are created. You don't need a whole day to change. You just need a moment. It's a good message. If I do say so myself. But these messages mean something to me too. They, whatever I'm doing with my spirituality or with my practices or what I share to you, there's so many messages that are just messages being reflected right back at me. And the beautiful thing is that the more that I progress in my spiritual journey, the more that I realize that it's my journey that is the important part. Not this part here. This is, as much as it's beautiful that I want to share these things with you, or that I want you, to see things, to remember who and what you are and why you came. But at the end of the day, it's my own personal evolution that is the most important thing. Right. And so that's been the most beautiful thing to experience is when you start to realize that you, that's what you need to be pouring the energy into making your life the most beautiful life for you. Because then you're going to make the most beautiful life around you. You're going to impact the environment in such a beautiful, beautiful way. And, I see that with, the plants that I have in the house and how they're growing, the explosion of wild roses everywhere. Like it's just so beautiful out there with there's so much life. There's just so much abundance in the space that I'm in. And, you can feel very, very grateful for what you have, right? When you start to look at your life and you really start to value the stuff that you have. And if you don't like what you have in your life, well, then change it. But if you start to appreciate what you do have with it, I think about my house that I'm living in and the property that I have here. And I just think about how I just want to pour a whole bunch of love into it because I want to show appreciation to this space, to this property, so that I'm repaying it. It's so then it's kind of like I'd be able to have this because I care for it, right? I'm being a steward of it. So I should this, to me, it seems like it's more of a relationship, and that we should be in relationship with things more. So, it's sacred relationship. That's what we're meant to do, is establish it. And as we establish that sacred relationship, we're going to transform the world, right? Like imagine establishing sacred relationship with the air element. What do you think that you could do in a sacred relationship with air? What do you think you could do in sacred relationship with water? Right? When you think about what the elements represent, there's a lot that you can do. What do you think would happen if so many of us became aware of what Mother Gaia is, and we became fixated on having a sacred relationship with her? Right? When we stop looking at life, that's when we stop looking at life as sacred, that's when we start doing things that are indignified, that are inhumane. That's when we allow things to happen that should never, ever, ever, ever happen. Right? We sit here and we talk about it. My friend and I talk about it and how all these people are no data centers, no data centers, no data centers. And, there's a truth beyond the truth of, all of that stuff. But at the end of the day, if you don't want AI, don't use it. Refuse it, right? Refuse it at every single turn, every single opportunity that you have. Our refusal to participate in it will show that we are not going to use it. We don't want anything to do with it, right? Like, we're the ones that have to design the future that we want and we can do that, like I said, by reestablishing that sacred relationship with all life, with all of it. Right? Okay, I'm going to pull a couple of cards and see what's going on with the collective. And how is your nervous system? How is your, what part of your journey are you in? Are you in the healing part, or are you in the awakening part, or are you in a combination of both? And I forgot, I have to clean the cards first. Like I have to tap them. Okay. All right. Let's get a good message for the collective. See what our energy is at. Okay. Well, things might be getting shooken up. Let's see what else we have here. Anything else, Spirit? Apparently there was more. A little bit more. All right, anything else, Spirit? At least not right now. Okay. Let's see, what do we have here, there, and there. Okay, so the first card that came out was the Tower card. And I think a lot of us have experienced tower moments in the last little bit. And maybe even collectively, we are in a tower moment, right? There's just a lot that's going on, right? So the Tower card is sudden change, or chaos, destruction of illusions. We want that. We want the veil to drop, right? We want the truth of the truth of the truth. I always have. I want the truth of who and what I am and what I'm meant to be here to do. You know, I want to know how we're meant to live. I've been seeking that my whole life. So, you know, let's get rid of the illusions. So there's revelations, there's breaking free, awakening, and forced transformation. So the Tower reminds you that true transformation often begins in chaos. Do not fear the storm. It is the force that clears your path. Allow the old to fall so that the new can rise. Then we got the Seven of Water. And the Seven of Water is all about choices, and it's about paying attention to your dreams. It is about your imagination and opportunities, wishful thinking, illusions, and also spiritual awakening. So the Seven of Water reminds you that while life is full of possibilities, discernment is key. Not every option is in alignment with your highest timeline. Trust your heart and intuition to guide you toward the path meant for you. Okay? And then we got the Four of Fire, but the Four of Fire in the reverse. And in the reverse, it talks about instability, impatience, lack of recognition, and feeling disconnected from progress. Now, what the Four of Fire does normally say is it's calling you to pause, to celebrate, to honor your foundation. You have lit the flames of creation. Now bask in the glow and let the warmth remind you of all that you have already built. This is a powerful card to, when it talks about remind you of what you've already built. Like, think about everything that you have survived and everything that you have overcome up until this point in time in life, right? Like, you have overcome an enormous amount of things. Celebrate that. It's amazing what happens when you actually pat yourself on the back. Before Mel Robbins did her whole high five thing, I was on my channel doing this, pat yourself on the back, because it's good to have that physical contact, right? And that's what Mel Robbins instituted with the high five movement, right? It was that you're touching the mirror. So you're getting that feedback. Like, yes, I did it. And, this was another way to do it too. Like the good old pat on the back. You've done it, champ. All right. The other card that came out, so we had two sevens that came out. We had the Seven of Air. The Seven of Air, when it's upright, it talks about strategy, hidden motives, discernment, illusion, and secrecy. Now, the Seven of Air is a reminder that discernment is your greatest power. You are being asked to see beyond illusions, trust your intuition, and navigate carefully. If something feels off, investigate further. The truth will always reveal itself. And we do have to be careful of this right now, right? There's a lot of stuff going on out there right now, and you have to be super careful about what you're seeing. They're talking about how there's these, women on social media, and their accounts are completely fake. They're completely AI generated. And it's not just women. There's all kinds of things. There's all kinds of stuff that's just completely AI generated. And it's going to get harder to detect what is AI generated and what is true. So the thing that you need to do is be working on your intuition and your discernment so that as things advance, that your discernment is going to tell you that is fake or that is real. Okay. And, pulling away from social media and away from technology is probably one of the best things that all of us can do. So then we have the 6 of Earth that came out, but the 6 of Earth came out in the reverse. And when it's in the reverse, it's speaking of power imbalance, giving without receiving, financial hardship, manipulation through wealth. The 6 of Earth is a reminder that prosperity is a flow, not a possession. Whether you are the role of the giver or the receiver, trust that balance will be restored, and all aspects of generosity create ripples of abundance in the universe. Okay, so this is just talking about right relationship with giving and receiving, and that it is being restored. And I was thinking about that when I was meditating today, was thinking about the transfer of wealth, right? From the people now who have the wealth while they destroy the earth or they try to destroy humanity. And the ones that should have it are the ones that would be the stewards of the earth and taking care of her. So the 6 of Earth would be that kind of ripple effect, which would be lovely to see. All right. The last card that came out is the 2 of Ether. So this deck is a deck that I created. It is the Etherian Tarot, and it has the 5th element of the Ether element. And so this is this 2. And 2s are about balance and harmony and stuff like that. So this is balance, cosmic flow, and divine harmony. Balance, divine partnership, harmony, flowing with the universe, energetic alignment, and sacred duality. The 2 of Ether is an invitation to step into flow, embrace divine rhythm, and trust that everything is unfolding in perfect balance. It is a call to align with your highest path and move forward with effortless grace. So there you go. That's the collective message for right now. What part really resonated with you? Do you have any plans for the new moon? Like, are you doing any rituals or anything for the new moon? How are you doing? The Tower, yeah. But you know what? Sometimes it needs to fall apart so it can fall together, right? And so if we don't hold on to the things that are not for us, that, sometimes we cling to the things that aren't for us, and that just delays the inevitable, or it creates more of a tower moment instead of being, a little bit easier to flow through it. The more that we cling to the past, the harder it is to let go, right? Hello, how are you? Well, I can't tell you that without pulling the card. Yes. All right. Yeah. I mean, there's a whole bunch of cards back there, but the one that I saw is the King of Water. And the King of Water is about emotional mastery is what it represents. Okay. All right. There. All right. So this is the King of Water, and the King of Water is about emotional mastery, wisdom, and compassion. Emotional balance, wisdom, compassion, leadership, intuition, and stability. The King of Water calls you to embrace emotional mastery, lead with wisdom, and trust your intuition. True power lies in understanding emotions without being ruled by them, right? So it's just a very positive card for what you were asking for. Okay. Hi, Katie. I see you mastering your emotions. The sacred responsibility. I honor the responsibility of conscious living. Awareness increases choice. Choice increases responsibility. Alignment requires follow through. Identify one aligned choice, execute it today, track the results. Okay. I love the decks that I've created. Yeah. This little one, the 44 Keys of the Way, that one's one of my favorites. I just think it's so cute. Right? They're just cute. And they're good to all right, Cindy. The grounded step. I move through life with stability and awareness. Remembrance. Grounding converts insight into action. Without it, ideas remain abstract. Stability reduces reactivity and increases follow through. Your practice is to feel your feet for 60 seconds, then take 10 slow steps, keeping your attention on the contact with the ground. Okay? Any questions about any spiritual stuff or healing or trauma, mental health? Hello, hello. How are you? Astra Atlas and Francisco. Looney Tooney Boo. Well, apparently that grounding one really wanted to come out because it was trying to get out again. That would be really good for you too. Because what you were talking about when we were hanging out that day in the return to center. Today I read one of my stories online. I did a reel on Facebook, or no, on TikTok, reading my book Infinite Wonders, The Universe Has No End, which is a children's book that I wrote. It's really cute. So I'd appreciate it if you check out my channel and check out that post. Give it some love, share it. You know, if you've got little crystal children or, you know, awakening children, or you're awakening, you might want to read that to your children or, you know, friends. Just give it to your friends. Give it to them. Everyone that has kids should read these books. I have a bunch of books that I have written under two different names, under Tanya Baldwin and also under Sha'Ryah and Lorian, which is my pen name. And it's also that channel name. I have 2 channels. Well, I have 4 channels, actually. I also own a nonprofit. My nonprofit is Hugs for Homeless. We gather donations and build backpacks that are filled with essentials, and we distribute them into the homeless community. And yeah, so that's another thing that I do. I have 300 hygiene kits on hand right now that I'm looking to turn into 300 full backpacks so we can really impact their lives. Each backpack costs around $100 to make, although we do have a bit of a discount for each of the backpacks because we have the hygiene portion of the kit. But no, we're still looking. So, if you are so inclined, you can go to hugsforhomeless.com and look at the different ways that you can get involved. We're always looking for volunteers. We're looking for people who are really good at looking at researching grants and those types of funding opportunities. We are looking for individuals who are, great at contacting businesses and seeing about them, like say hosting posters or just getting the name out there, contacting people and just letting them know about Hugs for Homeless, what our mission is. People that can share things through social media just to expand the reach, who will connect and comment on all of our social media posts, because the more that they're interacted with appropriately, the further that the reach will go as well. And we want to move this movement hopefully across Canada and then across the world if possible, right? And we've really, it's small acts of kindness are going to make a huge impact. And a hug can change a life. And honestly, if it has a sleeping bag, it can even save a life. And people can make all their judgments about why they believe that there's, homelessness. And so many people think that it's just a drug problem, and it's not. It's absolutely not. And if you get to the root of addiction is a multifactored issue that stems from trauma, and it stems from societal stuff. It's a complex issue. It's not just as simple as somebody just decided to do drugs and, become homeless. Right. And there are only about 25% of the population are actually homeless because of drug addiction or addictions. The remaining 75% are people like you and me who, maybe just experienced some hard times, had a string of bad luck, and that's it. And it's the statistics are only somewhat relevant because they do a point in time count, and every year they get a whole bunch of volunteers together, and those volunteers go out and they count the heads of those who are in homeless shelters, who are in encampments that they know of, and they get an estimate of how many people are homeless, but they don't truly know, because there's people who are homeless and are sleeping on their family's couches, or they're living in a garage, or they're living in a trailer somewhere. There's lots of other housing situations that are still homeless, but we have to have more compassion for the fact that a lot of people are experiencing it, and it has nothing to do with not being deserving or not being worthy or any of that. It's, sometimes a lot of just bad things can happen and people can fall down on their luck. I am a university graduate. I have actually 9 years of post-secondary education, and then I have a whole bunch of extra courses and stuff that I've taken so that I can help people with trauma and mental health. And when I went and started my company, I ended up becoming homeless. I wouldn't give up my dream. And so I was lucky that in my experience of homelessness, I ended up, staying on a couch. Like I was couch surfing. And, I did that for about 1.5 years because the company wasn't flourishing in the early days, and I didn't want to give it up. So sometimes homelessness isn't about, somebody, being an addict or somebody being, I don't think anybody deserves to be homeless anyway. I think that's one of the silliest things. And that could loop us right back around to spirituality, like I was talking about, right? The earth provides everything that we need, and somewhere along the way, somebody decided that they could charge us for that. Why? Who made them king? Who made them God? And that's not, I don't even, those terms are irrelevant, right? Right? Who made them who gives them the authority to say in order to live here, you have to exchange labor to get money so that you can buy things. And if you can't buy those things, then you can go ahead and be homeless, or you can die from starvation, or you can die from lack of the necessities. Like, how is that something that we all just go along with? Hi, Steve. How are you? There's a squirrel out on my feeder. He is just nattering away. Aw, thank you. Aw, thank you so much, Steve. I appreciate you. I do. You're always so kind. Look at the pilgrimage. The pilgrim. Hi, Allie. How are you? I haven't seen you in a while. Now I want to go look at your art. It's so weird how the algorithm is at times. So, Steve, my life itself is a sacred journey. A pilgrim walks with intention and humility. Each step is meaningful, not rushed. Orientation matters more than speed. Your practice is to walk slowly for 10 minutes, count 20 steps at a time, reset if your attention is lost. So if you lose count, start back at the beginning. But is that a good thing? I think sometimes I tried not to be on social media too much. I do 3 lives per week, which might seem like a lot, maybe. Maybe that is a lot. I do a global meditation on Saturday. Today I do the celestial check-in and stuff, and then on Wednesdays. But I'm always talking about spirituality and awakening and healing and all these other things that I'm up to, or do a lot of stuff. So how are you doing? That squirrel is just so mad. I'm curious why he's mad. Maybe he's yelling at another squirrel. Aw. Is there any way that I can help you with that? Just ask the question, just sit there waiting, staring at them. Well, let's see if there's a card that gives you a little bit of an idea, because that's a possibility. You can always see. Whoop. So these ones here are the 44 keys of the way, and that's hilarious because these are all but one of them. I've already read them today. So I do have to smack them out. Knock the poop out of them. Knock the old energy out. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of work with nervous system regulation and really returning to center. That even, like when we talk about how our awareness is our most important thing, it's more true than we even realize. When, like if you could understand that the The actual field of consciousness is completely around us. There's no such thing as empty space. Ether is everywhere. And in between ether is air and water. And, like there's all the elements. It's just, there's so much around us if we could see the truth, if we could see the world. And so everything that we're doing, our thoughts are not in our head, they're not in the brain, right? Our thoughts are in the field. So if your thoughts are negative, 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 then the field is going to be resonating that negative out there. So it's just, and it's kind of like, well, you can be positive 99% of the time and one time be kind of negative, and the field's not going to do anything. Like, it's not like you're going to have like a catastrophe because you had one moment where you were like, oh, bad day, right? It's what we spend our bulk of our time in. That's the energy that's being sent out there. And sure, if we do something like really big, that's going to resonate in the field. Like it's like dropping a stone in the water, right? But most of the time, it's just these little ripples that you're sending out all the time, these waves that you're putting into the field. And everything is putting those same waves in the field. And if you start to interact with the other waves in the field in a sacred way, so with plants, for instance, when we start to interact with them in a sacred way, then the field responds in a much more harmonious way. It's really quite beautiful. All right, let me give you a good card. Not the whole morning, get back here. Yeah. And right, sometimes it's those things. So the only thing to do then is just to ground as much as possible, breathe as much as possible, remind yourself that it's one moment at a time, one breath at a time, one step at a time, one moment at a time, right? And just know that it's going to be okay. Okay. So we've got the quiet mind card, and the quiet mind, the affirmation is, I allow my mind to rest in silence. Remembrance, silence is not absence, it is access. When input reduces, insight increases. The mind can learn to rest without losing awareness. From quiet, precision returns. The practice is to set a 3-minute timer, no input. Each thought return to breath. And one of the things, like, we get inundated with so much stimulus, right? There's stimulation everywhere. And, you've got your phone that's buzzing all the time, even phantom buzzing just because, right? You've got random thoughts that just pop in your head that you're like, why did that come into my head? You've got the TV, you've got the, radio, you've got all kinds of stuff, people coming at you for your attention. There's so many things that are pulling on our energy. So we need to withdraw from as much of those things as possible, because that's how we're going to get the most clear. So being able to come back into our center and sit in stillness and be in the moment, you'll be surprised with the clarity that you receive, and you may even get some direction for how to move forward or how to navigate the circumstances that you're experiencing in the best way. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're welcome. So much love to you, Allie. So much love. What time are we at here? Just about 7 o'clock. How's everybody else doing? Yummy. Yay, TT. That's the TT club. It used to be, I remember when I started out like 5 years ago, like I left my 20 plus year nursing career and I opened up my company, Mind, Body, Spirit, Healthy, because I realized that healthcare was not actually healthcare, and that your spirit and that spirit in general, that played a significant portion of your health. Like, it's a very important part of your health. And that when we look at root cause and all of those things, you can heal. And so when I first started out, I used to do a little series, and it was called Trauma Talk. And I would just like be trauma talk. And then I would talk about something about trauma, about PTSD or CPTSD, or, I'd give you some soothing techniques, some somatic experience, all of that stuff. And then I did that for a while until someone said to me, that's very triggering. Like every time you come on, it's like trauma talk. And it's like, if somebody's, really in their trauma, like that's just going to be just so, off-putting or whatever. So maybe you should think about changing it. And so then I went into this little time where I was like divine healing and all these other things. And it's like, it's just funny how you look at the progression of your experiences and of your life on social media. All the roles. Yeah. Okay. Did anybody need anything else? Right. And it's so funny, right? When I was a kid, I was, we were on welfare. Hi, Jerry. I had a huge awakening yesterday. Like huge. Like I sat there today for a little while and I just sat in awe and I just cried. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I don't even know what to say. That squirrel out there is just going at it again. Mm-hmm. How are you? I'm throwing cards away again. Well, the sun is sending off a lot of energy right now. And when you know who and what you are, and you sit with intention and you do things from a specific place, you'd be surprised the way that you can impact reality. And this is why I've been talking about sacred relationship and how important it is for all of us to reestablish sacred relationship with all of the elements, with Mother Gaia, with all of it. Like if you honestly, and there are beings that we don't see. We don't see them because our awareness is not open to it. Right? If you've been told that's fake, that's fairy tale, that's woo-woo, that's whatever, then your belief system is pushing against that and saying, I can't, like, that's just fake. But if you know, and even if you are in that area of you just don't know, if you start to build a relationship with it, the relationship will show you the truth of it. Right? So and the reason why I talk about this is because, like I said, I started writing a book called the Elemental Field Work Codex. So this is about establishing relationship with the 5 elements. And since I've been writing that book and also in doing the practices myself, I can see the energy on plants now. I can see their life force. And it's so beautiful. And I sat there today and I felt them, like I felt their energy and saw them. And I was just, I just cried because it was just so beautiful. And, just unbelievable. It's incredible, right? It's incredible. So, that's my challenge to everybody. It's kind of interesting. I saw a video. So I have a lot of different ancestry. Like when I do my genealogy, like I have Scottish, Irish, French, and Indigenous. So like I'm First Nation Mohawk and then, European. stuff. And I have other stuff too. My mom used to just say we were mutts or 57 or whatever, like whatever. But there was a point of, okay, so I saw a video about this tradition within Ireland, and it was how the leaders would marry the land, right? And the leaders had to be the steward, right? And that's how it's supposed to be, right? Like leadership should be given to the people who are the most responsible and who treat things with the most sacred space, right? Like if the person that thinks of the earth as the most sacred thing in the world and treats it with sacred relationship, that's the person that should be running things, right? Because if you think of the home that houses everybody, and then you look at every other part of life, because it just begins from there, right? If you look at yourself as sacred, you look at everything as sacred. And I mean everything. Your tea. When you have your tea, it's sacred. Sit with it. When you're eating, it's sacred. I make sourdough. And like I love up on my sourdough. I hold it in my hands. You have chakras in each of your palms. You have your heart chakra. I hold it right here, so it's sitting right within this space. A little triad, a little giving and receiving, the heart, the heart chakra, all of that. And I just hold it in that space, and I pour love into it, and I thank it for the nourishment, and I thank it for the renewal. And the whole time that I cook food, I stay in a beautiful space energetically, and I think positive things, because my energy is in the field. It is interacting with everything in the field around me. I treat my house like sacred because I'm so grateful I have one, right? The other part of like I have my company, and then I have a nonprofit that is Hugs for Homeless. So I work helping the homeless, and I'm grateful I have a home. And, when I think about that, I was essentially homeless, just over a year ago, that's, something to be very grateful for. So I thank the house. I bless the house. I clean the house as a part of sacred relationship with it. And when you start to treat things with that energy, then you are rewarded. The energy comes back to you. Right? Mm-hmm. Oh, it is so much of the journey. It's just so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Right? And that's how we create the new earth, right? That's how we bring it about, is by sitting within that space, by being in sacred relationship with all of life, because life is sacred. And that's what we are seeing shown to us, is how they don't believe that, right? Like when you listen to people like Sam Altman, Bill Gates, like all these billionaires and stuff like that, like they don't think of life as sacred. There's not one part of life that is sacred, right? And when I watch things like Avatar is a movie that just because that's what we're seeing here. Right? And it's like, how can we take and take and take for the very few's benefit? That's all it is. Oh, and it's so sad. I love that you make your own paints. That's really cool. Really cool. My brain was starting to like calculate, thinking, I was like, what kind of paint? Yeah. Right. So think about how, like, and you can feel that, right? Like when you go and buy something from a craftsman who has poured their love into it, and when somebody loves what they do, you feel that furniture is loved, and you can feel it. When you go and buy something from like IKEA or a big box store like Leon's or the Bricks or whatever, other stuff there is out there, it doesn't feel There's no, the life energy isn't there, right? So when we start to connect with our own bodies and being present in the moment, then we start to feel the truth around us, and then we can sense, well, hey, that person's genuine. That person's not selling me a line, right? Because you can connect to their field and you can feel that. Yeah, your heart and soul, absolutely. Absolutely. So that's my challenge for you. Sacred relationship with all things. And if you need help with stuff, go check out my website. I have so many things there. Yeah. And be ready, because as the sun and these solar flares and coronal ejections and everything else that's going on, like, you're going to be surprised with the stuff that's coming in the next little while. Things are about to speed up, and be ready. It's very important to, to have some good practices for your nervous system, to be able to detach from all of the chaos and the stuff that's going on out there. And it's going to be really, really important, like I said, to hone our discernment and to, to know how to listen to our intuition. And we're going to need it more and more. Oh, I love it, CJ. How are you doing, love? It's been a while. Soleil. Good. I'm so happy to hear that. Did they get everything done with the like with the buildings and all of that? Because that's, I think, the last time that we were really talking. That was so long ago. Oh, congratulations. Well done. What for? That's so exciting, though. Well, I'm glad that it's me, like that you have your kitchen now and everything. Nice. Nice. Very exciting. They have a thing that says pin a shortcut to your services now to collect leads. Apparently I have to do that. I have to set that up. Service bio preview. All right. So, yay. That's exciting. And what exactly is a Dawn Canada Hummingbird Award? Because I know that you were in Toastmasters and you are quite the speaker, so I feel like it has something to do with that. But specifics would be lovely. As much as you want to share. Aww. That's even better. Oh, that's awesome. That's so awesome, CJ. And everything else is going well for you? Is everyone else doing okay? So I think on solstice, I'm going to do a ceremony to yeah, I had to prove it. Ah, I love it. That's beautiful. Congratulations. Celebrate yourself. Pat on the back. So next week on Sunday, which is solstice, the 21st, I'm pretty sure it is the Sunday. I'm going to confirm just. Okay, so next Sunday when I do my live, I think that I would like to do a ceremony to really have basically to agree to enter into sacred relationship with Mother Gaia. And I'd like as many of us to agree to do it as possible. I think that it's going to be a beautiful ceremony, and I think it's going to really do wonderful things energetically. I'll explain more as we approach and as it formulates, but I still have to finish channeling it all together. But so one of the things that I would suggest is when you have the opportunity to decrease the input that you have coming in, CJ, because that will really improve your energy, because we don't realize how much all those inputs are tugging at our energy. So that can be something that can help. Ooh, I have my return to center cards. I can see if I can get one from there for you. These ones are based around, so I have Return to Center, which is a 10-day course that brings you back to yourself. And then the brings you back to center. So the present moment, your body, to your breath. And then my bigger course for working through your trauma is Return to Self. And then I have a couple of groups, one being Balanced Self Sanctuary, which helps you with your healing. It supports you with a bunch of somatic practices, and, a supportive environment. We do 2 lives each month. And then the other group that I have is the Embodied Leadership Circle. And that's for people who have stabilized in their healing journey and are looking to really embody spirituality, embodied leadership. So it's like you're in integrity and nice. I love it. So the card that came up is regulation, and it's called Soften Your Jaw. And it's all about releasing subtle tension. Jaw tension is linked to control and stress. When held tightly, it keeps your system in a low-level activated state. Softening it creates a cascade of relaxation. The embodiment practice, let your jaw hang slightly open. Look at that. Relax your tongue away from the roof of your mouth and take 2 slow breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth, lengthening the exhale more than the inhale. Okay? And if it's still really tense, then on the 3rd inhale, exhale into the jaw. And there you go. So what do you guys want to talk about? Just tired all the way around. Alrighty, guys. I've been on for over an hour. I'm going to head off and see if I can't get my dog for a little run before the rain maybe actually comes. I've been keeping it at bay. Aw, thank you. Nobody's forcing you to be here, sweetie. But I appreciate that. I'll even show it to everybody because your opinion matters. Your opinion matters so much to you, but not to me. But I appreciate you. Like, you literally question, like, what is, I question, I question what is wrong with people. Cool. Right. All right. Anyway, I'm going to run. So I'm back on Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Mountain Time. We're going to keep talking about embodied spirituality, sacred relationship, awakening. You know, you guys can bring some questions and we can have a good discussion. Whatever. Maybe I'll figure out some talking points. I don't know. I entertain myself. That's the important thing. All right. Anyway, guys, I love you. And I will see you guys Wednesday night.